What's up, everybody? What's happening, people? What's happening? We're coming in to you from the home location on today. Hottest show on the streets. We're bringing you your nonstop Bama football news. In my own word, George truly, Stephen Smith of TDA. And though it was fun, being a part of the Paul Feinbaum show earlier today. What I have my most enjoyment in is when I'm able to get to join you, the Alabama fans, whether I'm in studio in the Birmingham area or right here from the home location, talking nothing but Bama football. So you know what time it is. You get in the comment section. You go crazy in the comment section, taking all your questions here. That daily super chat go $100 daily. Super chat go $100 right there. We appreciate the love from all of you. Hit that like button, smash the like button, thumbs up, get those likes going up right there. We appreciate that. Hit that subscribe button as well, so that way you are staying locked on to all things Crimson Tide. Alabama coming off a 49-21 win over Kentucky, securing the SEC Western Division title. Coach Saban, his 10th SEC West Division crown since becoming the head coach of the Crimson Tide in 2007. Alabama will take on Georgia for the conference title on Saturday, December 2nd, Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. The uniform has already been unveiled, Alabama being the home team. They will wear the dark home colors, the dark crimson. Georgia's the road team. They will have on their road whites, but it's going to be fun. They're watching part 6 of Kirby Smart versus Coach Nick Saban. But we're going to get some of your thoughts right now in the chat lines. You guys already starting us off here. Let's get to some of your thoughts in the chat line to get us rolling. If I can get this thing to move up here. Here we go. So we got my man Willie is chilly in here. Willie is chilly, giving us a roll tide. Appreciate you, Willie, helping us out here on the show. We got Naomi in here. Roll tide, everyone last week was lit. Naomi, it was. The Bama offense putting up 49 points. 49 points for the Bama offense. Bama defense taking care of business there in the second half. Appreciate you, Naomi. We got Squidward's World writing in. Bama better be ranked in the top 5 tomorrow. We'll see what the College Football Playoff Committee does. Did this game do enough to get the attention of the CFP committee? We'll figure it out. We'll find out if this game got the attention of the CFP committee. Alabama playing its most perfect game to this point from start to finish. Now, honestly, Alabama could have shut Kentucky out. Kentucky hung around there in the matchup, but Kentucky was able to get some points, not hang around, but it got some points there. Bama could have very simply shut out the Wildcats, but we'll see if the College Football Committee sees favor of it being, a top 5 team on tomorrow. We got Daquan Minor writing in. Roll Tide, roll. Appreciate that, Daquan. We got Naomi back in here. We back in business. The SEC Championship on December 2nd. That being Alabama football. They're in the SEC title game in Atlanta, playing Georgia. We kind of all knew this was going to be what it was. This has to be what it is. CBS involved. All eyes will be on Hotlanta. This is always the game that people are the most looking forward to seeing. We got Aaron McGuire writing in. Roll Tide, roll with a smiley face. Couple of elephants. Couple of A's, splashing tidal wave, couple of footballs there. Appreciate Aaron. We got GT18, Roll Tide, Bama Nation. Appreciate GT18. Naomi coming back in here. We got 2 more games to go before we're headed to the SEC Championship game in December. Bama with Chattanooga this week at 11 a.m. I know, another 11 a.m. game. It's crazy. And then you got Auburn in the Iron Bowl the following week. That game's at 2:30 p.m. Central on CBS before you take on Georgia in the SEC title game. We got Bama NOLA Adventures, Roll Tide from New Orleans. Appreciate that coming in. We got Dead President writing in. Let's go, Bama. Roll Tide, baby. Dead President. We got Dre Lively with the RTR. Appreciate that from Dre. We got Brandon White with a Roll Tide. Appreciate that, Brandon, coming in from you. We got Ant for Barbecue. Ant for with the Roll Tide right there. Jarvis S comes in. We have to make it out of Jordan Hare unscathed. First, though, we can really set our sights on Georgia. Jarvis, absolutely. You got to make it out of Jordan Hare unscathed. You got to. That's an insane environment. You got to. But now you can at least start discussing Alabama, Georgia in the SEC championship game, seeing how the matchup is set. It's set. It's ready. People are excited. The hype has begun. So you can begin at least talking about it. Ephraim Davis writes in, what's up, Stephen M. Smith? Roll Tide, everybody. Appreciate you, Ephraim, coming in. We got the Sage in here. Roll Tide family. Appreciate the Sage coming in here. Jarvis S. writes back in, I would rest Milroe versus UGA and let Ty Simpson get us the win. Get us the win versus Chattanooga. We will need a healthy Milroe to cap off the season. I wouldn't mind Ty Simpson, Jarvis getting the start there against Chattanooga. I can honestly see Milroe maybe playing a quarter or two and then just let Ty Simpson take over the rest of that game, depending on how big of a lead Alabama can get there against Chattanooga. That'll play the role in how quickly does Saban get Ty Simpson on the field, pulling Milroe out of there. Bama has a defense that has brought back make them quit attitude. Milroe has improved and has shown he is not afraid to run. McConaughey, absolutely. This Alabama defense, especially in the second half of games, has stifled teams. In the second half, they've done that. I mean, this Alabama offense, as Milroe and Reese have grown together, this entire offense has grown. Milroe trusting his feet. The receivers making plays. The offensive line's gotten better. As Milroe and Tommy Reese have grown together as quarterback and offensive coordinator, the entire offense has grown. Absolutely. Alan Mitchell writing in, Roll Tide, love your show, brother. Appreciate that, Alan. We do this for you, the Alabama football fans. Jarvis S says, I meant rest Milroe versus Chattanooga. I mean, Jarvis, I got what you're saying. Rest Jalen Milroe for the Chattanooga game. Bring him back for the SEC championship game, and of course, Auburn. Bama defeats Georgia by 10. That's Ben Baller. Hey, we'll see that. We'll see, Ben. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. We will see what happens. McConaughey writes in, has Reese finally changed his offensive scheme to suit Milroe's style? He has. Tommy Reese sat down with Jalen Milroe, and they went over what do you like versus what do we need to throw out. Tommy Reese and Jalen Milroe, they sat down, and they came up with a scheme together of this is what I like, this is what works for me, this is what complements me well. And Tommy Reese talked about it. I want to pull out the confidence in you. I want to boost your confidence as a quarterback. So what do I need to call as the OC to get you comfortable, to get you confident, to get you rolling? What you like, we'll call out. What you don't like, we'll do away with it. And that's what Milroe and Reese have done. And it's been very, very good. It's been outstanding. Let's see here. Anitra writes in, Roll Tide, y'all. Roll Tide, Anitra. Appreciate you in here. James Knox writes in, Roll Tide till I die. The in my own words, TDA family. Victory Monday, 159 yards rushing, 158 yards, 2.9 yards per carry. He's talking about the Union Panthers getting it done there. So appreciate the Union Panther love there coming from James Knox. Elijah Petway writes in, I don't expect Bama to move up. Everyone in front of them won, and they beat an unranked Kentucky team. Well, hopefully, as we move on down the rest of the schedule, we could see a Washington or an Oregon lose, a Texas lose in the Big 12 championship game. We will definitely have to see. But you guys continue getting your thoughts in. Get your thoughts in. We definitely are taking those throughout the day. We'll get this from James Daniel. Stephen, what's your top 4 teams now? My top four right now, everybody that hasn't been beaten, well, they're still in there. I mean, you have to have Michigan and Ohio State in there. They haven't lost yet. You have to have Florida State. They haven't lost yet, and you have to have you got to have Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, Florida State. They haven't lost yet, so those teams are still in the top four. Now, they have to be in the top four. So you still have more games remaining. Michigan, Ohio State will solve itself. You still have Oregon, Washington. One of those two is definitely going to lose, if not both. Texas is going to lose in the Big 12 title game, if not before then. So it's going to be interesting. Going to be very, very interesting here as we continue throughout the rest of this schedule. But we're going to actually get into the first topic of conversation. Appreciate all of you guys checking us out here on the show. And the first topic, Alabama's offense is now clicking on all cylinders under Tommy Reese. When Tommy Reese was first hired, there was a lot of skepticism. People looked at, this is not Garrett Riley from TCU. Why Bama can get Garrett Riley? This is not Chip Long this is not Chip Long. Why Bama can get Chip Long? This is not Jeff Lebby. Why Alabama couldn't get Jeff Lebby? Why couldn't Alabama get one of these young, hotshot, innovative, creative, sex appeal names that get the meter going? Why couldn't Alabama get one of these guys? Well, you get a Tommy Reese, 30 years old. You get a Tommy Reese of whom we really don't even know in the 3 years he was the offensive coordinator for Notre Dame. That's 2020 to 2022. We really don't know of those 3 years how many of those were years where he actually called the offense. But even when you go from Brian Kelly to Nick Saban, there's an adjustment period. You're not going to get it overnight. You have to grow with this thing. And we are people that we like things to be done fast. I understand the air fryer has improved cooking. I understand that people like things to be done instantly. But I've said this before, what's the best form of food? Putting it in that crock pot, right? Where those juices come in, the ingredients come in. It may take you a while. It may cause you to be patient. But that crock pot food, when you taste it, you know, this is what I've been craving. This is what I wanted. And it came out right at the right time. It has you to be patient, but that food is ready at the right time. The best Bama is crock pot Bama. Bama has to come together at the right time. 2009, we didn't know about Greg McElroy for real. But he came together at the right time. Crockpot Bama. You got a championship off that. 2011, 2012. It took a minute for A.J. McCarron to become the quarterback that he needed to be. Crockpot Bama. Took him some time, but you got 2 national championships off that back-to-back with him as a starter. 2015, you look at Jacob Coker. It took Coker a while, but guess what? When Coker was well-seasoned, it got you to a championship. Same thing with Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts, that duo 2017. Same thing with Mac Jones in 2020. It takes guys some time. It took Tommy Reese some time. But you look at what he's doing right now, and this Alabama offense, back-to-back weeks, they put up 40-plus points. You put up 42 points on an LSU team where the question was, could Bama win a shootout? And in a mini shootout, won the matchup. You go to last week, Bama putting up 49 points against Kentucky. Jalen Milroe, back-to-back weeks, put on a show against LSU, became the first quarterback in Tide history to have 4 rushing touchdowns in one game. Against Kentucky, he joined Tua Tagovailoa and Bryce Young as the third Alabama quarterback to have 6 touchdowns in the game. So this offense is clicking at the right time, but it took Tommy Reese a minute. He has to get adjusted to Coach Saban, just like these 4- and 5-star athletes have to get adjusted to Coach Saban. It's a process. It's a process, and it's a learning curve. But now you're seeing Tommy Reese bring out the design quarterback runs. You're seeing Tommy Reese bring out the zone reads. You're seeing Tommy Reese break out the pop passes. You're seeing him break out the jet sweeps. You're seeing him break out all of these different formations, even the whole tush push formation from the Philadelphia Eagles in the red zone. You're seeing him bring that out. So it's taking him some time, but week by week, bit by bit, game by game, you're seeing the nuance of Tommy Reese come out where this offense is concerned. The offensive line's playing better. The run game has come alive, not just with Milroe, but with the backs as well. You're seeing big plays from the wide receivers. Whether it's, we know what Jermaine Burton and Isaiah Bond can do. Now here's Kobe Prentice breaking out. Now here's Kendrick Law giving you something. And then last week, Jalen Hale resurfaced. We saw him against Ole Miss at first, and then he comes back against Kentucky making big plays. Amari Niblack comes back to the pitch with tight end. He has a touchdown catch there against Kentucky. So this entire offense, it's clicking at the right time because Tommy Reese is now comfortable. And with Tommy Reese being comfortable, we now see comfortability and confidence from Jalen Milroe. And now this has oozed out to everybody else on the team. We live in an era, a day and time where people want things instant, people want things quick, people want things fast, but that crock pot food tastes phenomenal. Crock pot Bama, take your time, grow, develop, and now here is the Alabama that you thought you would get at the beginning, but it's the Alabama that's peaking at the right time, that's playing its best football, and that's in the SEC championship game with an opportunity, continues to win out, get some other teams to lose, with an opportunity to go into the college football playoff and play for a national championship. And now this is in Alabama to where you've got Jalen Milroe in the running for Davey O'Brien National Quarterback of the Year. Jalen Milroe, who's in the running for the Maxwell Award, which goes to the best player in college football. So the growth of the play caller, the growth of quarterback has led to the growth of the entire offense. And it's just been a joy. It's just been an utmost excitement to see where this team has gone from week 2 against Texas, where they were pretty much written off and left for dead, to where they are right now competing for an SEC championship. But we're going to jump back in here in the chat line to grab your thoughts. A lot of you guys are just showing a lot of love here in the chat line. We appreciate that from all of you. We got GT18 who writes in, this team is super locked in. I don't see any lack of focus in the next 3 games. This team is locked in. This is an Alabama team that's locked in, from Coach Saban to the assistant coaches to Miss Terry helping out to Coach Cedric on the sideline. Like, this team is super locked in. Milroe, after a 6-touchdown performance, is even saying that he is frustrated by his performance. He's talking about, there are things I could have done better. There's throws that I missed. There's plays that I missed. Dude, you're coming off a 6-touchdown performance, and you're talking about plays that you missed and plays that you could have hit on. This team is not letting up an inch. Not letting up an inch. We got Milton Johnson writes in, gotta let Milroe perfect his craft. This should be a cleaning up mistake game for 3 quarters. And it should be. This should be a game against UT Chattanooga where Milroe completing passes and either of the boundary. Milroe fine-tuning his craft in the passing game. Absolutely, Milton. This should be a week to where he's fine-tuning his craft in the passing game for about 2 to 3 quarters. Then you get him out, you get Ty Simpson in, let Simpson build some reps there, with the team. But absolutely, I agree with that. We got easy underscore E205. Roll Tide. I feel like the playoff committee should be done like juries are done, where the members have absolutely zero bias toward any team or conference, or equal members from each conference. I mean, I agree. It's like I go back to, I remember when the committee first started in 2014, and you had Jeff Long, Condoleezza Rice, Archie Manning on the committee, and they watched the game, they studied the game, and they got it right. I mean, those guys got it right almost each and every single time. I don't know what Boo Carrigan and this committee is doing, because some days they look at strength of schedule. Sometimes they look at strength of resume. Sometimes they look at the eye test. It's not consistent across the board when you look at Kerrigan in this group. So I don't know what criteria they stick to, if there even is one, but we'll see how they rank these teams here on tomorrow. Randy Harris writes in, as long as the OC keeps plays together where Milroe won't have to see the whole field, then we're good. That's one thing that Tommy Reese has done a great job of, Randy, is not putting too much on Milroe. Give him quick reads, easy decisions, so that he can be decisive in whether he wants to throw the football or whether he wants to take off and run. So Tommy Reese, kudos to him in that area as well. He's not putting a lot on Milroe's plate. He's allowing him to make simple, easy reads, simple, easy calls to where he can be decisive in, where do I go to with the football. Jarvis S. writes in, we had 21 points before Kentucky ran 6 offensive plays. That is pure dominance. Alabama did. Alabama had 21 points before Kentucky got to 6 offensive plays. And, like I said, Bama could have shut out Kentucky. What gave Kentucky an inch of hope? A muffed punt by Kool-Aid McKinstry. That gave Kentucky a little flicker of hope. If Kool-Aid catches this ball cleanly, Alabama goes back down their scores again. It's 28-0. Who knows? The final score could have been 49-0, if not worse. So Alabama was dominating. Like, Jalen Milroe was playing lights out until the unfortunate muffed punt there by Kool-Aid, but Alabama still came away there with the win. Timothy Pass writes in, roll Tide, the time has come. Georgia is going to play a real tough team, the only and last team that has and can beat them. Georgia's going to be challenged by Alabama. Now, Georgia's had some tough, some close calls there with Auburn. They beat Auburn by 7, 27-20. And then Missouri, which, if Missouri didn't have some bad penalties and kind of difficult plays there, or questionable plays there, Missouri could have pulled that game out. The Tigers lost 21-30 to Georgia, but they're going to get challenged here against Alabama in the championship game. Randy Harris writes back in, Jalen seems like an RPO player. That's what he is. He's not your prototypical drop back pocket passer. He can do that, but that's not his strong suit. He loves the RPOs, the zone reads, the design runs. Get him on the edge, get him on the perimeter, have him make plays with his feet, which opens up more of the passing game. Absolutely. Kenny Heathcock writes in, yes, the offense was different when Ty came in, but Ty Simpson showed athleticism too. Ty Simpson hooked up with Jalen Hale on a couple of really nice passes. Ty's skill set is more so geared to the passing game. He's athletic, but his skill set is more so geared toward the passing game there. Let's see. James Daniel writes in, do you like to see Alabama play in the white or the red? I prefer the road whites myself, James. I prefer the road whites. It's just something special about the road whites. I prefer them. But because the SEC in this nature, they deem the Western Division champion as the home team, then that's going to mean Bama plays in its dark crimson jerseys, while Georgia has their road whites. But when I see Alabama typically come out in those sleek road whites, I like that. I believe there's a stat that when Bama's come out in the road whites, it's won games. It's dominated teams in those road whites. I believe that stat is accurate if I'm quoting that correctly. But I prefer the whites, but in this case, they're going to have on their dark crimson jerseys there. Let's see. Plow Jogger writes in, did y'all see that long touchdown run after catching the pass by Brian Robinson? Wow. B-Rob is having a great season for the Commanders. I would just like to see the Commanders be a better team. I would just like for the Commanders to have a quarterback, some resemblance here of the passing game to help B-Rob out because the brother can't do it by himself. Can't do it by himself. GT18 writes in, Reese doing a great job adapting to Jalen's strengths is huge. No doubt they both will continue to flourish. Absolutely. Reese is growing. Milroe's growing. They're both climbing up this mountain together. I'm loving what's happening. Loving what's going on. Ephraim Davis, Bama fans ready to play Georgia now. Why wait? Bama fans are ready to play Georgia now. But Coach Saban is ready to get Chattanooga over with and get Auburn over with before playing Georgia. The Inquisitive Prince writes in, a repeat of the 2021 SEC Championship, Bama 41, Georgia 24. So the Inquisitive Prince has got a repeat of the 2021 SEC title game happening here this time, with Bama taking it 41 to 24. I'll keep that in mind there. Ben Barner writes in, Jalen Milroe keeps on developing and is getting better and better. This is a topic more people should be paying attention to. Put the week 11 Jalen Milroe in the Texas game and we win by 14. Ben Ball, you're right. If you put this Jalen Milroe week 2 against Texas, that's a completely different ball game. And this is why I'm saying Milroe deserves to be in the Heisman conversation. You got so many people saying Milroe shouldn't be in here. Don't put him in here. Don't talk about him in here. Let me tell you this. Nobody else has completely taken over the conversation. People thought Michael Penix Jr. of Washington would take it over. He hasn't taken it over yet. Jaden Daniels hasn't taken it. Jaden Daniels is not the runaway favorite right now. Caleb Daniels is not the runaway favorite. Bo Nix not the runaway favorite. There's nobody you can pinpoint to right now and say they are the runaway favorite for the Heisman Trophy. And Jalen Milroe in back-to-back weeks, you talk about he's accounted for 10 touchdowns, only 1 turnover. He has legitimately put himself in this conversation, and rightfully so. And what does the Heisman love more than anything? Storylines. They love stories. Who has a better story right now than Milroe? You have the worst odds to even win the starting quarterback job at Bama, according to Vegas, at plus 300. You get benched for Tyler Buchner against South Florida, and you pull yourself out of it, and you got Alabama playing for an SEC championship, the Alabama team that after a week 2 loss to Texas, everybody threw off a cliff. Jalen Milroe has the best story of anybody in this conversation right now. So absolutely. Let's see here. Elijah Petaway writes in, I was praying for Miami to beat Florida State. I know Florida State, the easiest road here to the college football playoff. The easiest road here to the college football playoff. Let's see here. Jarvis S. writes in, dream scenario is we beat Georgia in the SEC championship and face Texas first round of the playoff. That would be a dream scenario, Jarvis. It would be. Could Alabama get that? Could it happen? We'll see. But that would certainly be a dream scenario. Danny Sutton writes in, what's the chances of the committee putting a 1-loss Big Ten team over a 1-loss Bama since the committee is showing bias toward the SEC? The committee could do that since Michigan's athletic director is on the committee, but I look at it like this. If Ohio State blows out Michigan or Michigan blows out Ohio State, the loser of that game, if it's via blowout, the loser of that game doesn't get in. The loser of that game, if it's a blowout, I don't see the loser of that game getting in, especially if it's a blowout. McConaughey writes in, next week, cupcake game. The following week, the Bard at Voodoo Stadium. always a hard-fought game. Will Bama be focused enough to beat the Barn before the SEC championship? I think Alabama will. This is the one time where McConaughey, I've seen Alabama, this team, talk about togetherness, talk about brotherhood, talk about being focused, talk about don't buy into the rat poison. Terry Arnold spoke on they've been setting traps in the team, rat traps, saying don't fall for the traps. This is a uberly focused Alabama team. This is a Bama team. I haven't seen a Bama team this focused in a minute. This is a focus group. You can't break the focus of this group right now. They're going to be ready to take on Chattanooga. They're going to be ready to take on Auburn in the Iron Bowl. Cloud Jogger writes in, it would take a crazy upset for a team ahead of us to lose next Saturday. It would take a crazy upset, but this is college football. Crazy upsets happen. We've seen this scenario too many times. Too many times. But we'll see. We'll absolutely see. Let's see here. The godfather of the SEC, my man Wayman writes in, Dumbo got himself a big sack of money. Jimbo Fisher got paid $76 million to be fired. I'm in the wrong profession, y'all. I should be a fired SEC head coach. Jimbo get fired, and they got to pay this brother $76 million. Man, that's a good life. That's a good... all Jimbo got to do is sit down and wait for the mailman. Jimbo got a good life, man. All that man got to do is literally sit down and wait for the mailman. That's all he got to do. Sit down and wait for the mailman. Man, I'm in the wrong profession. I'm totally in the wrong profession. I am totally in the wrong profession, but appreciate all of you guys riding in so far to the show. I appreciate all of you guys helping us out here, showing us some love right here on the channel. Dexter Wright writes in, our whole team is a great story. And it is. The whole Bama's a great story. From getting written off to right where it is now, playing for an SEC championship, the whole Bama team is an incredible story. Nick Saban having to teach these young guys how to win, how to deal with hard, how to deal with difficulty, how to fight through adversity. You got to do it. You absolutely got to do it. And Saban's done phenomenal with that. But we get into now topic number 2 of the conversation as you guys continue to get your thoughts on the show. So topic 2, did Alabama, did the Crimson Tide, with its win over Kentucky, and a dominant one I might add, get the College Football Playoff Committee's attention? Did it grab the attention of the CFP Committee? With this big win, because you won by over 20 points, did Bama grab the attention of the College Football Playoff Committee? And to me, and this is just me, I feel like it grabbed their attention because they saw a Bama team dominate from start to finish. You can stop the first quarter, the first 6 minutes, and you're like, this is over. Kentucky had no chance. Kentucky had no chance. From the opening kick, Kentucky had no chance. So it grabbed the attention of the committee. It grabbed the attention. The committee has to look at this game and go, okay, this is not the same Alabama team. It's been growing. It's been gradually taking steps forward. But this team is certainly, definitely not the same Alabama team we saw take a loss at home in week 2 against Texas. This is not the same Crimson Tide team. The committee has to see that. They have to notice that. That has to be taken in the inventory. So I feel like the win grabbed the attention of the committee, but at the same time, it has to now, Alabama, wipe the floor with Chattanooga and then wipe the floor with Auburn. And then go into the ACC championship game and find a way to wipe the floor with Georgia. And if it does all that, then you definitely have grabbed the committee's attention, and they have to put you into the playoff as one of the top 4 teams in the country. But I thought the win grabbed the committee's attention in a way to where they understand this is a different Alabama. This is a different Bama offense. The Bama defense is in full flow. It's in full force. This is a complete football team now. And this is a football team that can beat you in different ways. They can beat you in a shootout. They can beat you in a ground and pound. They can beat you with great defense. They can win ugly. They can win pretty. They can win Nick Saban smiling. They can win Nick Saban popping blood vessels in his eyes. There are different ways that this Alabama team can win. That's what the committee's seeing now. This Alabama team can win a variety of games. Like there are some college football teams where they have a set formula. We can only win this way. We can only win through this structure. We can only win through this format, right? This format is the only format that guarantees us a win. For Alabama, it's different. Bama's now saying, you can throw us in a shootout, we'll take you. You can throw us in a muck it up, grind it out game, we'll take you. You can throw us in a game where we have to win pretty, we'll win pretty. You can throw us in a game where we have to win ugly, we'll win ugly. You can throw us in a game where Nick Saban is smiling, and we'll win. You can throw us in a game where Nick Saban is cussing everybody out and his eyes are bloodshot like the moon, we'll win that way. That's what Alabama's proving to you right now. That's what it's showing us up front, up close, and personal, that they can win any type of ball game, any type of matchup, regardless of what's being presented to it. So I think this game did grab the committee's attention. But like I said, the biggest focus now turns to, you got to take this and wipe the floor with UT Chattanooga. Take this, go to Jordan-Hare, go to Auburn, win that matchup handedly, and then in the SEC championship against Kirby Smart in Georgia, find a way to wipe the floor there with the Bulldogs. But let's get to your thoughts or your comments. Do you guys think that Alabama grabbed the attention of the playoff committee with this game? We got a $10 donation from Anitra. Let's go! $10 donation. She's got let's keep it rolling, roll tide. Appreciate Anitra with that $10 donation. Appreciate that. Appreciate that right there. Anitra helping us out here on the show. Let's see. Let's get to your thoughts here. Let's get to you guys' thoughts here in the call line. Once again, appreciate Anitra with that $10 donation. Fantastic. Daily Super Chat Go, $100. Daily Super Chat Go, $100. Appreciate you guys helping us out right there. Roll Tide and Rise Up says, they don't like us, Stephen. And by that, referring to the College Football Playoff Committee. Well, even if the committee don't like Alabama, Bama's got to bust its way in the door. Even though the College Football Playoff Committee doesn't like Alabama, Bama's got to find a way to bust themselves in the door and make them put it in there. Make the College Football Committee put you in there. Just like Nick Saban said at the start of the season, make us play you in terms of the quarterback. You got to make the College Football Committee put you in there. Let's see. Ben Allen writes in, Arnold and Moore get a pick each in Atlanta. Beck will force the ball because the legs can't get it done. Hey, that's a bold prediction from Ben Allen. He's got Terrion Arnold, who's been playing tremendous right now, and Malachi Moore, each recorded an interception in the game against Georgia. He's got Beck will force the ball because the legs cannot get it done. Let's see here. Keith Lindsay writes in, already had their attention in terms of the College Football Playoff Committee. Plow Jogger writes in, no, dominating Kentucky football ain't saying much. There's a point right there. Brought to the table. Appreciate all of you guys getting it in. Obama TV writes in length, let a naysayer know, the slogan from Terrion Arnold, Jalen Milroe, and the entire Bama team. Danny Sutton writes in that loss against Texas is being held over our head, even though we have the better resume. And that's the reason why, if you're a Bama fan, you got to pull for Iowa State. Texas plays Iowa State next. You got to pull for Texas Tech after that. Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game. You got to have Texas lose another game. You got to have Texas lose another game because the committee is really valuing this head-to-head. And with Texas beating Alabama week 2 in Bryant-Denny, despite the fact that Bama has the much better schedule than Texas, strength of schedule that being, the committee is valuing the head-to-head competition, the head-to-head matchup. So you got to have Texas drop another football game. Sweet Home Bama 22 writes in Roll Tide. Steven, appreciate you. Sweet Home Bama 22 helping us out. Justin Summerlin writes in, when we dominate Georgia, that will do it. I hope they move to number 1 tomorrow. And that's where the needle is, Justin. If the committee puts Georgia, at number 1 tomorrow, after Georgia handled Ole Miss 52-17, and Bama beats Georgia while they're ranked number 1 in the CFP, that would be the domino to put Bama in there. Because Georgia's on this 30-plus game win streak. Nobody's beaten Georgia. They've been on this win streak. Bama beats Georgia in the SEC championship, handing the Bulldogs their first loss in a long time. That would be the domino to put Bama in the college football playoff. Let's see here. Continue with your thoughts here. Let's see. Run the Table Sports TV says, Steven, we did it without two wide receiver Jermaine Burton, and nobody even noticed. Alabama did handle Kentucky without Jermaine Burton. I mean, Isaiah Bonds did his thing. Kendrick Law did his thing. Kobe Prentice did his thing. Jalen Hale stepped up. That tells you got a deep wide receiver room. When Jermaine Burton doesn't play and this team doesn't miss a beat, that tells you got a deep wide receiver room that's playing with a lot of confidence. And that's what the Tide is doing right now. We got Donale Jenkins right there. Tommy Reese is finally letting Milroe do his kind of game. Roll Tide, baby. Tommy Reese is doing this, but Tommy Reese has finally reached a point where he's adapted to Coach Saban. He's adapted to Jalen Milroe, which frees Tommy Reese to let Milroe do his own thing, which frees Tommy Reese to call what he wants to call out there as well. So absolutely. Let's see here. Dexter Wright, we need Georgia at 1, but I think the committee purposefully not putting them at 1. We're going to see what happens tomorrow. I mean, we're going to see what happens tomorrow. We're going to definitely see what happens tomorrow in this college football playoff rankings. We're going to see this. Monica Petaway writes in, I'm proud of this team. Monica, this team has grown. They've grown. From week 1 to right now, they have grown. And I've said this. The X Factor MVP is Terry Saban. Miss Terry has been the X Factor MVP for this team. We have always seen her behind the scenes, but this year in particular, she's been center stage. Whether it's been her encouraging the players through text messages, her hugging players after the game, her screaming Dixieland Delight during the win against Tennessee, her getting on to Coach Saban. I mean, Miss Terry has been center stage. Greg Byrne, if you could hear me right now, it is time to prepare the Terry Saban statue. And I think how it should be constructed, right next to the Nick Saban clapping statue, where we could put like a headset on Miss Terry with the statue, and we can have Miss Terry turn and like whispering something in Nick's ear to get him to clap. I think that should be the blueprint for the statue. That's just me. That should be the blueprint for the statue. I'm just saying. Andy Sutton writes in, I'm the biggest Oregon State fan this weekend and next weekend. Bama fans have to be. You got to be the biggest fan of DJ Uyunglele in Oregon State because they got Washington this weekend and they got Oregon next weekend. So you got to be a big fan here of Oregon State. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see here. Coach Hood writes in, Stephen, can you share what you think the committee actually looks for in deciding the top four? Interested to hear your thoughts. This committee, Coach Hood, is looking at the eye test. The eye test, and when I look at them, do they seem impressive? When I look at them, do they appear to be dominant? They're looking solely at the eye test. Because if this committee was looking at strength of schedule and strength of resume, Alabama would be in the top four. If they're looking at strength of schedule, if they're looking at strength of resume, Bama would be in the top four. But I think the number one thing this committee is looking at is the eye test. When I look at this team, how dominant are they? Right? They look at the eye test, and then number two, who have you beaten? Which Florida State has an easy road to the college football playoff. Michigan, Ohio State, that'll solve itself. But I think a lot of these guys are looking at just the simple eye test. Let's see, Kevin C. I was among the many Tide fans in Lexington this weekend that enjoyed the mostly Crimson Stadium in the fourth quarter. It was a beautiful sight. It was phenomenal. It was a beautiful sight. That was phenomenal. The fourth quarter there against Kentucky. We got fantasy football GOAT strategies right here. Milroe has become the scariest player in college football. He has become that. It's taken him some time. But Milroe has become the scariest player there in all of college football as he's playing his best football as of right now. But appreciate all of you guys writing in. How about my man Eddie Rhodes one time? Let's go. Eddie Rhodes, that $20 donation, dropping that into the super chats. Appreciate Eddie Rhodes helping us out there on the show. Coach Hood, appreciate you, bro. I agree. They're looking at Coach the eye test. That's their only criteria right now. They also look at who have you beaten, but their number one thing is the eye test. But once again, Alabama handles business. Chattanooga, Auburn, and then Georgia in the SEC championship, they'll be fine. They'll be more than fine. NFC Boys writes in, is there a chance that Bama doesn't get in? Is there a chance that Alabama doesn't get in even with the win over Georgia? I could see the committee trying that, but only if they don't rank Georgia at number one. If the committee ranks Georgia at number one and Bama beats Georgia while they're number one, then the committee would be a huge walking contradiction. If they put Georgia at number one tomorrow and Bama beats Georgia and then leave Bama out of the playoff, the committee would be a walking contradiction if it did that. I don't think it does it, but if it does, there'll be a walking contradiction. Let's see. Ross Lyon writes in, Oregon State beats both Oregon and Washington. Then Oregon State beats Washington in the title game. 2-loss Pac-12 champion out. Ohio State, Michigan losers out because the resume is straight trash. Bama beats Georgia. That's how we get in. Well, Ross has got it. Ross has got the whole format out. Hey, Ross. Hey, Ross has got the whole format out. He's got it. Ross has got the whole format for you. There it is. There it is. There it is. Coach Hood, a one-loss Georgia and a one-loss Bama could definitely happen. Could happen. We'll see. We'll definitely see. Justin Summerlin writes in, Stephen, if you remember, they had Texas over Oklahoma in the first playoff rankings. and they both had one loss, and Oklahoma beat Texas. So the head-to-head doesn't mean anything. It should mean anything, Justin. It shouldn't. Because I remember a few years ago when you had a undefeated Penn State and a one-loss Ohio State, but Penn State was the Pac-12, was the Big Ten champion, and they put a one-loss Ohio State in the playoff. You remember that? So head-to-head shouldn't mean anything because the committee has done this time and time again. We'll see how this committee sort of plays this out here. Deborah Franklin writes in, the maturation of Milroe has been spectacular. Deborah, it has. From week one to right now, this is a completely different quarterback. This is a completely different playmaker. This is a completely different animal. This is a guy that has played himself squarely into the Heisman Trophy conversation. The maturation of Milroe has been exquisite. We got my man Coach Hood writes back in, can we just take it back to the BCS days, LOL? I wouldn't mind it going back to the BCS days, but then, Coach, we're going to get the whole, we're going with computers, and that's terrible, and we need a human eye on this. We need a human eye. You go back to the BCS, I wouldn't mind it, but then it would open up more cans for complaints. I wouldn't have anything to complain about, but it would open up more cans of complaints of Alabama if you were to go back to the BCS thing, which is the reason why we're about to have a 12-team playoff next year. Hopefully that'll solve some nonsense. But once again, you go to a 12-team playoff. Here's team number 13. Well, we have a great resume. Look at us. With a 13th team. Pull us in. Pull us in. You're going to have that fiasco going. Let's see. Marcus McCants writes in, Oregon's strength of schedule sucks. They only played two teams ranked and lost to one of them. Let's see. Danny Sutton writes back in, this year, the 12-team playoff will be entertaining. It would be this year. It would be entertaining this year. Aaron McGuire, I don't think a 12-team playoff will solve anything. Aaron, I'm kind of in the boat with you. But people just crave football, man. They crave football. My man Waylon, the godfather of the SEC, with that $9.99, dropping that love in there. Appreciate that. Waylon writes in, SEC Championship December 2nd. If we lose that game, it will be Bama, Texas, in the Sugar Bowl. Hey! That might be the vengeance right there. If Bama was to lose in the SEC title game, Bama, Texas, Sugar Bowl, but Bama more so focused on the national championship there. Let's see, we got Dallas the Hammer Turner writes in, might as well go to a 64-team play. Dallas, look, man, if Bama go to a 64-team playoff, Lord help me. It's already tough as it is for me. If this thing go to a 64-team playoff, may God have mercy. Christian Hughes writes in, yes, everyone else's strength of schedule is soft compared to Alabama. Bama's got the fifth toughest schedule in the country, according to the stats, out there. But appreciate all of you guys writing in, giving us your thoughts. We're going to go to final topic of conversation here. With the SEC championship set up, it being Bama, Georgia, in Atlanta, Bama's going to have the home uniform. Georgia's rocking the road whites. Here's the question. Does Alabama match up perfectly with Georgia for the SEC title game? I think if we were to have asked ourselves this question earlier in the season, it would be no. There's no way Alabama stacks up perfectly with Georgia. Now, this team stacks up more than perfect with Georgia. Now, this team is more than ready to face the Bulldogs. Now, this team can knock Georgia out. Now, I know the betting odds have come out. Vegas has come out. Georgia has opened up as a 3-point favorite over Alabama. So the spreads come out, the initial numbers have come out. Georgia's opened up as a 3-point favorite. But I think this Alabama team and the X factor, the running ability of Jalen Milroe, that's what makes this a game to where Bama can take Georgia. The running ability of Milroe, the growth of Milroe and Tommy Reese together. This gives Bama the puncher shot of knocking out Georgia. This gives Bama the puncher shot. Jalen Milroe's growth, his development, his legs as an athletic quarterback that has really found his rhythm in the passing game, and then the growth of he and Tommy Reese together gives Alabama this puncher shot here and matching up perfectly well with the Georgia Bulldogs. I think Bama matches up great with them. Because if you look at Carson Beck, he's not a running quarterback. He doesn't have that athletic part of his game. He can throw the football, but doesn't have the athletic part of his game. And we have seen when Alabama's able to get pressure to opposing quarterbacks, how difficult that's been. You look at Dallas Turner and Chris Braswell, these two combined 14 sacks, 7 each, 20 tackles for loss. These guys have been animals. You look at the growth of Tim Keenan on the defensive line, the growth of Justin Aboigbe, Jaheim Otis on the defensive line. These guys are getting after it. In the secondary, Terrion Arnold playing his best football, carrying up down, leads the team in tackles with 83. I mean, Malachi Moore is playing great ball right now. So I'm just saying this team has the puncher's chance. This team has the best position to take out Georgia. They fit perfectly with the Bulldogs in this matchup. They match up perfectly against the Bulldogs in this matchup. This will be the 6th time that Saban faces Kirby Smart. He's 4-1 against Kirby. This will be the 4th time that Alabama and Georgia will face each other for an SEC championship. They faced each other in the Saban era, of course. They faced each other in 2012. Bama got that one. They faced each other in 2018. Bama got that one. They faced each other in 2021. Bama got that one. This is the 4th time these two teams will face each other for an SEC championship. But Bama right now has the best chance of they stack up perfectly here with Georgia. Let's see here. Anitra writes in, I love for us to be the underdogs. I love for us to be the underdogs. I'm telling you, Bama right now, 3-point dog in this game. 3-point dog in this game. Aaron McGuire, I love for us to be the underdogs to Anitra. Bama is a 3-point dog going in for this game. 3-point dog. Coach Hood says just his thoughts. Coach Hood, we can't overlook Hugh Freeze in Auburn. Freeze knows exactly how to beat the Saban defense. Just saying, Hugh Freeze had success against Alabama during his time at Ole Miss. Alabama's not overlooking Auburn. They're not overlooking Hugh Freeze. This is an Auburn team. They could lose every game on the schedule until it comes to Bama, and they're going to play their best football they ever played. So this is going to be huge. This game at Jordan-Hare is going to be a marquee matchup. And I'll be in Auburn for that game. So that's going to be a marquee matchup. You cannot overlook Auburn in this game. Deborah Franklin writes in, the Auburn game will be more difficult than the Georgia game. I can see that, Deborah, because of the crowd at Jordan-Hare. The crowd will make it a difficult game. The crowd will make it a tough game. The crowd will make it an entertaining matchup to watch. It's going to be fun. Going to be fun. Going to be incredible. But appreciate all of you, the Bama fans, for checking us out today. You guys have been awesome. You guys have been phenomenal checking out the show as I'm here with you from the home location in Tuscaloosa. I will return to being in studio on Wednesday in the Birmingham area where we can take your calls, where we can take your thoughts, where we can take your conversations. I'll be back there in the Birmingham area on Wednesday. But As always, Bama fans, if you want the best in news, notes, information, coverage, entertainment, you want your Bama football, you can get that by downloading, accessing the Touchdown Alabama magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store. If you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store. If you got the Android phone for your audio needs, check us out. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. Until next time, Bama Nation, husbands love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands, children. You continue doing the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, good thing, legitimate thing to not be bored there. You get yourself those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself, people. You protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, I'll be back on Wednesday. Good night, Tuscaloosa. I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith, and you've been listening to In My Own Words.